this year.
Thank you.
So let's just get right into it. Let's start with Stacy here. The important thing, business is so hard to get right now. All of us are looking at the numbers. They're cut in half. What are you doing to source listings?
So first, I want to say thank you for having me. I have a little bit of laryngitis, but thankfully I have a microphone. So if you can't hear me in the back, if anybody can hear, can you hear us? We're good? Yeah. So thank you guys for coming. This is awesome. Give yourselves a hand. Woo! I want to thank KW for putting this all together. It's pretty awesome. I know that there's a lot of people here that aren't KW. That's not the question you asked me, though. Okay, so how do I source listings? My biggest source of listings has always been my database. About 94% of all of my business has come from my database. And it's been the heart of my business, and it continues to be where I spend the most time and where I get the best results.
Okay. Tell how you doing.
Hey guys, nice to see everybody. Thanks for having us today. I want to start with a little quote that I think maybe sets the room. Like, today is the tomorrow that you worried about yesterday. I think I said that right. But basically, it talks about being present, right? So the biggest thing for you guys today is be as present as possible. It's so easy to get distracted with phones or everything else. Try to grab as much as you can from this and extract. But to answer the question about gaining business, for me, I found most success on the internet. My digital billboards, Google, social media, that's really where I invest a lot of my time and a lot of my efforts. We spend a whole lot of time and energy with SEO optimization and just really trying to drive people to our website. So that's my secret to success.
Good. So you want to take a stab at it? We're doing well in time.
Hi, everybody. So glad you're all here. That means that you guys want to learn, you want to grow, and that's the start of being successful. So give yourselves a hand, because being there early in the morning is not so easy when you're here. So for me, being in the business over 25 years, and starting and learning and making a lot of mistakes along the way, I will say that just building people that you know. Now, when people come first in the business, they always say, okay, now write everybody down that you have in your address book and call them. Well, if you're not successful, why would your brother want to list their house with you, right? So that is a stupid thing to do. But along the way, you sell one house, you sell 2 houses, 3 houses, and you start building this database that Stacy is talking about, right? And the biggest thing about why realtors fail is because of follow-up. So every time you sell a house, when's the next time you're going to speak to that person? You should be speaking to each person at least 4 times in a year, right? Whether it's a VIP party, whether it's giving out pies, whether it's popping by their house and just saying, hey, whether it's calling them, and you're not calling them or selling them, you're really connecting. You're building relationships along the way, and I think it's really important to build those relationships, keep those relationships, and then build from there.
So, obviously we're building these relationships. You have your spheres that you're referencing. Taylor, you're referencing internet and SEO. So, it seems like it's a shorter cycle, right, if you're doing it that way. What are you doing to convert those leads? How are they coming to you?
No, I think Paula nailed it perfectly. I think a big component of this business is the follow-up, right? I feel like I'd say this all the time. I run a sales organization. I have a great team, but I always take more organized, persistent, consistent person over the best salesperson, right? Because that really is the nature of the beast. It's just having a strong database, having people behind you managing that database. As you guys grow your business and more is going on, it's really, really, really hard to manage everything, right? You can't wear every single hat. So just putting the right things in place, and as I sometimes say, hiring people that can do a better job than you can if you're not good at is a pretty quick tip for success. But yeah, no, I think it's truly is in the follow-up, because let's be honest, it's everyone knows how to lead gen to a certain capacity. Whatever your method is, everyone meets people. So the key to this, as Paula said, is storing that information, following up with that information, staying consistent with it for a long time, which is makes the I think that even the success in this business to the main differentiator.
So, Paula, a minimum of 4, right? We know that that's just forward facing, that's more of a long-term nurture campaign. What are you doing, Stacy, to see a more consistent follow-up internally? It's such a hustle. We know that if someone has spoken to you and it's not your friend or your spirit, that you are competing. I call it Game of Thrones. There are so many people looking for that business. How are you staying in front? How are you staying forward-facing or top of minds?
All right, so I want to ask you guys a question. I'm a big question person. So how many of you think you're doing a great job staying in front of your database in a meaningful way?
Crispy. After. Yeah, at that thing.
I think that's pretty honest. Yeah, Taylor said it's honest. So my method, I didn't even realize I had a method, to be completely transparent. I didn't realize I had a method until I partnered with somebody who said, Stacy, you have a method. Your method is what has gotten you to where you are. And then I looked back, and before I was in real estate, I was in luxury fashion, and I was running sales teams. And I realized it was the same method, that when I looked back, over 60% of all the business I was able to get came from people I already knew. Already knew. And when I went into real estate in 2009, which arguably was not a great time to start in real estate, I didn't want to cold call. I didn't want to door knock. I didn't want to do things that didn't feel comfortable to me. I don't know if any of you feel the same way. Yes.
Right?
Shake your head on that. Yeah. So I figured out that what was comfortable for me had to check a lot of boxes. I'm a working mom also. I believe in community, and connecting with people on common ground is easy when you're in the same community. So the first most important thing you guys need to do is be the local expert in your community. If you want,
What does that look like to you, though?
excuse me?
What does that look like to you?
So what that looks like to me is being out there and involved, present, and being the expert in your community, so that if you want to do business in a specific community, or if you want to raise your price point, for instance, to do business in another community, you need to be the expert in that community, and then you need to show people that you're the expert in that community. So my database and my nurture and how to stay in front of people starts with being the expert, being the local expert, and then sharing wisdom. So it's being the local expert and then sharing wisdom about what you know. A lot of times in my sales meetings, what I think is so interesting is that we talk about so many specific things to this business that we assume other people know, right? And they don't. So what I'm saying is, share your knowledge. Don't be afraid to share your knowledge. And sharing your knowledge means talking about what you do and how you solve problems. And if I asked you all, which we've done in my sales meetings, to sit down and write a list of 5 problems that you believe your prospective clients have or your current clients have, and by the way, anybody you know is a prospective client, I bet you could come up with 5 problems that you could probably help them solve. Yes? So do that. That's one takeaway for you. You don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying that. That's one takeaway for you.
So when you're talking about a local expert, I feel like that phrase is used a lot, right? Everyone's hashtagging that. There's a local expert about value, right? So if you're selling at this particular price point, you know that someone may be the condo queen or king, and someone may be the $1 million to $2 million king or queen. That would be considered an expertise, right? That would be your niche. That would be where you strive. But when you're talking about the full picture, and I'm getting a little feedback here, just so you know. When you're talking
That's
about
the American Idol star telling you he's getting a little feedback. Where's our sound guy? Sorry.
when you're painting the whole picture for it, we're talking about schools, we're talking about restaurants.
Yeah, let me,
we're talking
right,
about
let me,
all that. We'll get there.
Yeah.
I just want everyone to know that it seems like it's a broad stroke of saying that word, but it means that you're really diving deep into your community on every level.
yeah, you're diving deep into your community. I'm just gonna say one more thing. The idea about this is you have to be the local expert, share your wisdom, and then scale it. You have to do all of that consistently. And it's the compound effect of all three of those things that will grow your business. Be the local expert, share your wisdom, and scale it. It's that simple. It's not hard, but it does take a tremendous amount of consistency and dedication and not distraction, because we all like to chase the shiny object. Yes?
So let's just do a straightforward question. What, and I'll put this to Paula first and then to Taylor, what does your listing presentation look like? Just give me a couple of points that you say are a must-have in your presentation.
You should write this down.
Well,
I don't share everything, but I promise I'll share this with you. When I first started, I didn't know what to do. I said, what? I get a listing? Are you kidding? Like, what do I do first? The very first thing is build a relationship. When you meet someone, first thing I do is I get a phone call. Oh, how did you find me? All that kind of stuff. We're going to get into that later. When I get to the listing, I sit down first with the homeowner, and I always like to have both people that are making the decision there. I won't do a listing presentation without everyone there. And I let them talk. We have a really bad habit of spewing out information and talking about ourselves and telling them how wonderful we are and how great our company is. We're top this, we're top that. They do not give a crap about that. You're there because they know that already. So we sit, we talk. I listen. I get cues. How many of you here know what the DISC is?
it's an ounces.
You all should know what that is, because that explains the personality of the person you're talking to, and then you can make your listing presentation around the personality of that homeowner. So in other words, let's say, because I have a listing presentation, and sometimes I don't use it because the person just wants to talk about how wonderful everything is, how great the house, I put this fence on and it's higher than the other fence, or, look at this yard, I love these flowers, whatever it is. However, and I just need to have them talk. Then you have the C personality, that is the engineer that wants numbers. So I have to be prepared with my numbers and everything else. I always have a PowerPoint with the numbers. I look up their house. I know every single thing about that house. I pass by the house before I go there, or I look at it on Google Maps if I don't have time. I have a picture of their house. I get as much information about that house. And now the MLS even gives you more information about the house with everything in there. If you look at the MLS, it has that new tab that when you press it, you get the map, you get when they sold, how much equity they have in the house. You know a lot about that house, right? You know if it was on the market a year ago, 2 years ago. You want to know their motivation. You want to know why they're selling. That's really important because you may be wasting your time, or it might be listening a year from now. So I always have the PowerPoint ready with the stats of what our list to sale ratio is, what days on the market is for this area, and why we are the best. I know you're going to talk, but after they've talked, I talk about why we are the best person for them, right? So I have the PowerPoint. It has, and my whole team who's going on listing appointments uses the same one. but we put information into there that has to do with their house. So we put all of the numbers in that house. I don't talk about numbers about their house. I have an idea. And then afterward, another one.
Sorry.
So after we're talking, then I say, okay, I'm your buyer. Show me around the house. Take me around the house like you're showing it to me for the very first time, a buyer, and tell me everything you love about the home, and tell me all of the updates that you did in the home. And I let them lead me through it. Then I sit back down with them, and most of the time, I know exactly what that number is going to be. I go through the MLS. I always have my iPad there. Many people do 2 steps. I do 1 step. I don't have time for 2 steps. I was, and it works. And I always have paperwork with me ready to go. So I'm in and I'm out and I got a listing. All right? I go in with the intention that I have that listing. You need that confidence. You need to go in there like they're not interviewing anybody else. And sometimes people say, you should be the last one. It doesn't always work that way because I want to be the first one because I'm going to get the listing and then I'm going to tell that person, cancel your appointment for this afternoon.
So Paula, what I'm hearing from you is obviously prepared with your numbers. You've looked at the comps prior to going. You've asked the questions about the home. And I guess I want to specify this. Before the appointment, you're having these qualifying questions to the seller. You're taking notes about this property.
Correct.
Even though when you get there, you ask them to take you, because that's a nice way to create rapport and all that. I understand it. But more than likely, you're going with a number in your head, but you're not sharing that number in advance.
No.
You're not. Are you sending a report in advance?
So I have my iPad. I log into the MLS, and together we look at the market. They have no idea. They think their home, oh, that house across the street, it sold for $200,000 more. 3 years ago, and it has 1,000 square feet more than yours. I don't see that, but okay, I just listen. Okay, I show them all of the MLS listings of what sold, and now because the market is changing so fast, I don't go back more than 3 to 6 months because that's really where you need to be right now. And this is what I do. Being a school teacher many years ago, I have a really bit of that in me. I give them each a piece of paper and I say, now that you have all of this information, I want you to write, don't cheat, I want you to write down, what do you think your house should go in the market for, and what do you think it's going to sell for? They're like, okay. I said, I'm going to write down that number too. They write down the number, they fold it up like it's real game. And I said, okay, let's see. What do you got? We're looking at each other to see if, and usually you're spot on most of the time. And if they're really way off, then you get an idea.
I think that's a really good point. That it's very conversational and it's not as much of a presentation as it is to be engaged with them. When you make them feel, and this is where you're leading with it, part of the decision, it's much easier for them to accept the number, right? Which is usually the hardest part in it. All right, Taylor, you're up. Plus, I just want to remind you of the question.
I got it.
Specifically, what does your listing presentation look like?
So obviously, we're not going to do a holistic presentation today, and I feel kind of bad because I'm actually with opposite Paula. So interestingly enough, a couple of keynotes. I guess you guys want like nuggets, right? That's the most important thing. Clearly, we're not going to do a whole listing pitch today, but I'm a 2-step approach. So the first thing that I do is I have a nice, beautiful marketing experience email. So what I'll do is as soon as I have a client that wants to sell their house, I'll grab your email. Hey, let me send you something. So when I'm walking through the door, they already know everything I want them to know about me. So let me repeat how important that really is. With Google, with social media, with anything, you guys could write your own novel. You can be whoever you want to be online. So share with the customer who you want them to think you are. So I think that's really, really, really critical. So when I come, my first step is actually preview. Unless it's a house I already sold, unless it's a friend, if it's like a complete unknown to me, yes, Paul is spot on. I think the internet provides us with quite a bit of information for getting there. But I like to just kind of build rapport on the first one, drop a nice little marketing packet that we do. We call it our marketing box. And then I come back to the second step, which is actually the listing presentation. I'll tell you my joke. I make every listing presentation. If you go before me, just don't joke. I always sit down and I always make the joke. It's like, do you want to start with marketing or do you want to start with pricing? Everybody says pricing. So what's the point of that, right? The customer is really, really, really focused on the amount that they're going to get for their house. So that's what I overly focus on, right? Because I've already given them all the marketing before I've gotten there. I've met them once before and I've given them everything I want them to see about me as far as like print collateral. And now we're focusing on data, right? We're focusing on what is your house worth. So I lean super, super heavy on data. Same as Paula, same as Stacy, I'm sure. Listing presentation, CMA on an iPad and I'm just scrolling, right? I'm making them like fall into the number. So whatever I firmly believe that number is based on comparables, based on data, days on market, I'm leveraging all of that in person. And I think a tip that I would give you guys that, as I become more mature in this business and I'm doing it longer is just focus on yourself, right? Like when you're sitting in a listing presentation, don't focus if they've interviewed like 4 other people, 5 other people, or don't spend so much time telling everybody how great you are and I'm better than this person. Like generally that doesn't work. Like I actually, if somebody says to me like, oh, I interviewed person A or person B, I'm like, they're awesome. We're just different. It's like, that's not right or wrong. That's just, we're different. Everyone has a different approach. Like, and I hate to break everyone's heart, but you're not going to get a listing. You're just not. You're going to lose. It's just, that's part of the business. You got to have that mentality going into it. It's like, what's next? Like, it didn't work. Okay, great. What's next? Right. And I think that's critical. But no doubt is
That way that you may be valid. You're preparing the numbers. Many of us lose focus on how big the number really is. Some of us will be labor at, whether we're going to buy a suit or a pair of jeans and spend hours thinking about it. And yet we're here preparing for $500,000, $1 million, $2 million homes. How long are you spending? How informed are you really about the details? It's easier when you're going over with them in person, but if you've already done that, which I'm sure these three have consider their success, but if you've already done that, you're speaking to the improvements for each and every home. It just makes them feel like you really know what you're talking about. That creates confidence. I want to move to the next question. Part of the listing presentation, though.
No, you can't move. She has something to say.
Yeah, no, I'm going to leave her. She knows I'm going to leave her. I think she knows. They're distracted. So you've given all your pretty packaging. You've done your analysis. But really, the connection is about the Thor. And a lot of that comes down to scripts and how you question and where you focus your energy. So I feel like Stacy is an expert at this. She has a great mastery of her scripts. I want to just see, what do you do with that? And if you want to enter, you want to talk
No,
about
you did. You teed me up. That was good. Thank you. So one thing is in our team, we don't call them consultations. We call them success strategy sessions. Something with success, something with strategy, but nothing with consultation. Just stop using that word. You guys let's all stop using that word. We're not consulting. We're providing them with a strategy to give them a success plan. Yes? That's what you're there for. Yeah. No more consulting. That's a pearl. Oh, that's a takeaway pearl. I love her, by the way. I love Paula. I don't not love you, Taylor. I don't not love you.
Don't worry.
All right, sorry. I love you too. I love everybody. Okay. You get a car, and you get a car. No, okay, sorry. All right, so here's the thing. So I think that depending on the price point, and this is one of JP's other questions, you might be in one shot, you might be in two. So like Taylor, we're typically in two, sometimes it's three, sometimes it's four. Taylor will say, yes, that happens. And we send our marketing package ahead of time. Because like Taylor said, I don't want to sit there, I want them to know as much as they can know so that I can do what Paula said, which is to basically be in discovery mode. We are in discovery mode. You are in discovery mode. So I'll give you another pearl. You are there to find out one of two things. Are they a seller that wants to sell at the most amount of money, the market will pay? Or are they a seller only at a certain price? That's a very good nuance. It's a good qualifier, right? It's going to help you figure out how to help them price their house too. Are they a seller at the price, only at the price that the market will, the highest price the market will pay? Again, that's not putting the onus on you. That's you helping them get the highest price the market will pay. Or are they a seller at only a certain make me move number? Right? The other little nugget as far as scripts is I don't use scripts. I stay in discovery. That was your question. I'm going back. I stay in discovery. I will challenge all of you the way I challenge my team, the way I challenge myself, that before you offer advice, ask 3 questions before you offer some sort of advice or some sort of solution to whatever you think their pain point or their problem is, because I guarantee you, if you try to offer a solution to what they're saying their problem is, you are offering a solution to the wrong problem. And here is the aha that we did on my team, I think like 2 weeks ago, right? You are in discovery mode. You are a coach. You are not a consultant. You are a coach. You are not a consultant. And when you are in discovery mode in the listing success plan, you will ask a question. What is it that you love about your house? And what else? And what else? And is there anything else? Those are the 3 questions. That's it. What is your biggest concern about selling your house? They'll say something, and you'll say, and what else? And what else? You guys, I'm telling you, just write it down and just practice it. It will open up a world where you will be able to discover what their pain point is. What is your concern about not selling your house? Have you ever worked with another realtor before? How did that go? And what else? And what else? And is there anything else? Anything else is your last question. Your job in the listing success plan is to uncover and discover so that you can create a success plan that is specific and unique to them, their pain points, and their concerns. And that's how you connect with them on common ground.
Something right? Don't like
Count the money.
Oh my God, I really love you all now.
Good job. That's one thing really quickly. I think you sparked this. I think probably just relevant, but commission, right? Like everyone always wonders, like, how do I tackle that commission thing? Just as a good tab nugget is you get in front of it. Don't wait for them to ask you what you charge. You tell them in advance, right? And then however you do it, my version of it is always that, you know, you're going to hear anything and I'm very open. You're going to hear between 4% and 6%, right? There's no mystery of that. That's what you're going to hear. We're at A or B, whatever that is. So just get in front of that early. I think it's important.
I like that. What not leave behinds? And you talked about wrapping up the marketing package on the first part, but let's talk about the second part. Let's just say that, or your first part, right? Let's just say you didn't close it. For some reason, they needed a moment to think about after this amazing presentation. Are we leaving anything with the homeowner, Paula?
Well, that happens sometimes. And, you know, you have the one party sits there like this. And you know you're just not reaching them. Or you just, you know, sometimes it's just like, oh, so I have to stay longer until he likes me. I just stay longer. I don't need.
So basically, you leave behind you. Okay, we got it.
I'll ask for a glass of water. Can you make me some tea? Honestly, I will, if I have to leave, because they could push me out, I will call them, I will text them, I will maybe leave flowers, thank you for your time, whatever. I will call them and say, you know what, this is true, because I hate when people say, oh, I have a buyer for your house, when you really don't. Hate that. But many times I'll tell my team about the listing because I have a spreadsheet with every single listing I've gone on. So my team has access to our spreadsheet, and when they see a home that they're working with a buyer, this is a pearl. They will say, Paula, I need to have somebody. I'll say, okay. So after our meeting on Tuesdays, we always go and we caravan. So I also caravan to the homes I haven't listed yet. And then I'd say, okay, can we come to your home and just you? I want my team to see what they think and if we have anybody for your home. So that really shows interest, and it shows that you're on top of it. And I just don't stop. I just keep going. Have confidence that sometimes I feel like they hate me, and then they're like, "You're hired." Like you don't always. Sometimes you just get great people. So just stay yourself, like Taylor said. Be yourself. Have confidence. Know that you're the best. But to be the best, you really have to know your shit. I'm sorry, excuse me. You have to know, like if somebody asks you how the market today, what do you mean buying or selling? No, that's not a great answer. I have answers for that. That's another class. But you should know what is happening in your local market all the time. And when I said when I go to the house and I know all this stuff, I know the stuff about the house that sold next door, the house that sold down the block, the reason why the other house didn't sell. If it was on the market before with another realtor and they called me, I never badmouth another realtor. Never, ever. I might make a face. I might make a face though. I can't move off it there, I guess. I might go.
Because you care about them.
Because I care about them.
We've been doing this 30 minutes. We got another 15. So what I'm going to ask, we're going to go for some more questions, probably a little more rapidly. But before we do you leave behind anything at the last part?
Just
Always.
sorry.
Taylor, definitely no.
Just a listing presentation, like I said, hard copy. I leave the CMA hard copy behind. Yeah.
So you bring the hard copy, but you're presenting digitally.
Yes.
In front of the laptop.
Yep.
I do the same thing.
Okay.
And I do the same thing.
There's fast for you. There you go.
Taylor, I'm going to start with you. Do you adjust your presentation based on price point?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. We have like a standard universal one that we use. I would say, I don't say for everybody, but for most situations, we have a more like high-end one. And then we have like a crazy more like cater specific one that I'll tell you a story. Like, I think this is important if you guys are focusing on like higher end real estate, like be obsessed, right? Like being obsessed with data and being obsessed with, marketing strategies is critical. So we just did one in Inglewood. It was a $12.5 million listing. Spent 3 days making a listing presentation. Like be obsessed, but it made a difference. We nailed it over 6 other people because we knew that much more than everybody else. But it took 3 days, right? So it's like, be obsessed.
Here's home. That's amazing. I hope you're listening because the amount of time, these are super successful agents, but the amount of time that you spend when we're not busy allows you to be prepared for when you want to present yourself. So many people ask, how do we get started? And then you can talk to them and find out that they don't want to properly use the CRM or they don't have a presentation or a listing presentation done yet. So if you're worried about getting busy, get prepared. Get prepared in the markets that you want to serve and get prepared on how you want to present yourself. So I know I'm not on time. I just thought I did. So this business can overwhelm you. You can become obsessed with it, right? It can all consume your lives. Your family knows this. Partners in your life. What do you do? Briefly, give me one thing that can do, one thing two that help you create balance.
This is for me.
Yeah, let's start with you. Whatever does an answer.
I actually heard a quote like I really like, and I think it relates. It's like Jeff Bezos said it. I think you guys know who that is. They asked him like, "What's work-life balance?" Right? Because he's probably the busiest person on planet Earth. And he said he doesn't like the word balance because it's debilitating. It's saying that one's a trade-off for the other. That like work, you like to have fun, you can't work, and to have work, you can't have fun. So I think it's like creating harmony between the two. It's like everyone has friends, everyone has family, everyone has things going on. Connect it all. Make it like one big circle. Like I'm very, very open with my family, my friends, of how important work really is. So I involve everybody in my life in my work. Like literally, my brother works for me, my sister works for me. But besides that was a joke. But it's more just like the people in my sphere. Just it's all one big circle for me. I don't trade one for the other. It's my life. So I don't know if that's the right answer, but that's
I like it.
I like that answer, but I could never work with my husband or my sister. That wouldn't work. So for me, it's always been about leverage. It is about finding the right people who can do what you can't. You all have a superpower, and you all have things that you can't do. So you've got to surround yourself with people who will lift you up, will provide you with the leverage you need so that you can focus on your superpower, so that you're not the bottleneck. All right, I'm doing another question. Who here thinks that they are a control freak and a bottleneck? Be honest. Chris, raise your hand. Thank you. Okay. You are all intensive, motivated, passionate people. That's why you're here. So most likely a lot of you are also a little bit of a control freak and probably a little bit of a bottleneck to your business. So how do you create balance? You need to let go. You need to let go. You need to create a success list and a to-do list. And then figure out on that success list what it is that you and only you can do, and then go find the people and the systems to help you have a life.
I think.
And I actually just engaged in a fabulous partnership with a tech expert to create a system for me that scales the method that has allowed me to be so successful. And I'll talk a little bit about that later, but it is definitely about leverage.
I like it. This is where we're going to just kind of shoot as quickly as we can through this. We've got about 4 more to go.
Talented.
What was the most important thing you did to get where you are today in your business? It's a broad question. It's a hard one. Just one thing that you would say helped you focus and get to that success level. That might be a higher.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Perfect. No, I'm going to just take 2, and the answer for me is, I think you nailed it, it's leverage, right? Like, leverage is everything. We all have the same amount of time in a day, so like getting around the right people that can help you do things where you can't be or don't know how to do is critical. And I said it earlier on, it's organization and it's consistency. I mean, I'm telling you, 95% of this business is just staying involved. You're just being really, really organized. Like, you don't have to be the greatest salesperson in the world. You just have to be really organized and very consistent.
All right.
Can I answer?
Yeah.
That's good.
When I started, the very first thing I did was I aligned myself with the right people, with the right tribe, with other people, other realtors that were doing so much better than me. Most of them were. And got into coaching. I read everything I could get my hands on. And a really good, go back to balance, was we all want it today, right? We all want to be successful today. But it happens like you make 2 phone calls each day, that's 10 by the end of the week, right? It's the compound effect that you said before. And that's a great book by Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. And read everything you can get your hands on. Listen to podcasts, and I have great lists of all these things. I have book lists. I have in my library, when I'm in the car, I don't listen to music. I'm always listening to something that's going to help me grow. I'm still growing. I'm still building. And leverage is huge because I have the right people on my bus. And if you haven't read Very Easy, we use the energy bus. I have the right people on my bus. And I'm looking right at them.
You woman.
And they're amazing.
What was the question?
Give us one podcast that you listen to.
One is Founders.
Fine.
And a lot of people haven't heard of it, but it's so good because if you don't have time to read the books that he talks about, he basically dissects a really great book. And the one book that the owner of the Founders podcast, one of the books was, believe it or not, I never thought I would find anything useful in this book, was Jay-Z, right? how did Jay-Z become so successful? And he tears it down, talks about how he got so successful and the things that he did and the conversations he had with people that were better than him and the struggles along the way. And it was so tied into what we do as real estate agents. We are valuable. We do so much for our clients, but do they know that? No, but if you learn to listen to what other people say, you can put that, adapt it to your business and learn from that. So that's just one podcast, and there are many others.
Thank you. So we are running out of time. Before we do, there's a quick exercise that I want Stacy to do with us. She's launched this kind of database software for our system, and we're going to do the exercise, and then we're going to go into questions. So you got to do this.
All right, so I'm going to do it quickly. So I have something fun for you guys. So I told you that the secret to my success is all database, database, database. I've never spent a whole lot of money on ads. To fill my bucket, I do Google AdWords and I do Facebook leads, but the majority of my business has always been the people that I know. And you guys should be targeting 6.5% of your database as will turn into deals for you. That should be your target. 6.5% of your database should be your target. I'm giving you a goal, 6.5%. And you need to do what? Show them you care. You need to share your wisdom, be the top expert, and then scale it. I couldn't find something to scale it until I started it myself. And I'm going to give you 2 of the nurtures I use. I'm going to hand them to you. You ready? All right. I need you all to take out your phones. You already have your phones out. I love it. And I want you to text. I want you to text to this number. So put in the number. It's 201 500 2078.
You're all in Stacy database now.
201. It is my phone number. 201 500 2078. I want you to text the word top 3. Top 3. You could say THREE. You could say 3. I don't really care. This is going to be one nurture that we activate our sellers with that shows our expertise. Just a simple activation that shows our expertise. You're going to get something from me. It's going to show you a house I sold. It's going to tell you why I think it's sold for the number it's sold for, which is meant to just help another seller on their journey. I am sharing my expertise, sharing my wisdom, because all sellers and all homeowners want to know what makes another house sell for a top number. Yes? They want to know that. You all do it?
Yeah.
Okay. One more for you, and this is really awesome. Open houses. Open houses are an interview for you to get more buyers. Yes?
And sellers.
And sellers. That's true. And up until now, maybe some of you are still using paper, and it's getting all those people into your database and then doing the follow-up, doing the nurture consistently. Whether it's the open house leads, whether it's your Zillow leads, I don't care. Nobody's doing the follow-up and the nurture in a meaningful, authentic, personalized way. You're not. You're missing so much of that business. So here's what I want you to do. Okay? I want you to take that same number, and I want you to, it was 201 500 2078. You with me?
Yes. Okay.
You with me? And I want you to text the word open. And now this one, you're going to see exactly what happens, and I spelled it out for you, when you come to one of my team's open houses. Okay? Trust me, you'll be hearing from me in this. And I'm ending it with this. I want you guys to have the method. I want you to know all the nurtures. We have like 50-something nurtures that are all personalized. There's a very specific method. I want to share it with you. It's not going to happen right here on this stage, but I did create a video. It's literally just explains tangible exactly what I'm doing. And if you use that same number and text the word train, TRAIN, you'll get the video. It's free. is literally a teaching video. It goes into the specific details of the nurtures and the methods that I've used, and I think you'll all get something important out of it. So feel free.
All right, we're gonna go to questions. Taylor, I do want to ask Ms. Butler, you can give it in 10 sentences. You have a young team, and a lot of the times young people in this business feel insecure about simulating a large asset. So what do? You look young. I don't know how many you were, but you look young. And I'm 13. Look at that. Look at how young the freshman are. Second row. So what do you do to overcome that objection? Because I'm sure you've gotten that at some point in your career.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's case by case. I mean, earlier on when I started, I was 26, so it was super challenging. I looked even younger. I think it's just really having confidence. I think the first guy I ever worked for told me something that's always stuck with me, and hopefully sticks with you guys as well, is that you're the expert, right? And when you're dealing with a certain level of wealth, you're going to deal with medical, you're going to deal with finance, you're going to deal with all walks of life. But is it real estate? And if you walk in the room knowing that you are the expert in real estate, that's your room. That's not that person's room. They're maybe the expert at doing brain surgery, but they're not the expert at selling their house. So really kind of like just own that confidence in it and just be the experts. And
Perfect. All right, we thought question. Well, Jack a little here right Let's speak that thing. Oh, we're here. He was behind you. I didn't see your hand go up. I'm sorry.
Hi, good morning. I'd like to know if you could share with us the what areas and the marketing materials that you send before you go to the house. Something that they did. We go.
I always give an example of a 3D Matterport, schematic floor plans. I have a welcome packet that we created. I have our website, our social media channels, access to photos, just like a whole ledger of things that how we market and a lot about us.
So here's something, if you don't have any listings yet and you're looking to get it, offer to go to one of your friends' houses and photograph it and floor plan it and create an interactive walkthrough or a map for them so that you do have a really high-end property website to share when you're going out. So here's a picture. Email that we can share when you're in front of it. Next question.
Could I answer that too? It wouldn't help.
Let's just get their question. Because we've got 10 minutes.
Good morning. My name is Danny. I'm a new agent. And I have two questions. First question, as a new agent, what kind of, what I can offer to my buyers? Because I noticed that many buyers actually then have some other agents. So how can I stand out? What I can provide them? And second question is, as a new agent, I noticed I have some issues with the time management and organizing things because as a new agent, I would like to participate in many trainings. I will have to do a lot of phone calls and such. And I noticed I'm messing out with the time. And if you could give advice for new agents, that would be very valuable. Thanks so much.
Well, time lucky, yeah.
Thank you. Being a new agent, you have to know that if you got into this business, know what your goal is, okay? Write down your goal, exactly what you want to happen, where you want to be in 1 year, right? And every day, you have to break it down. What do you have to do each day to get there? Look at your calendar, whether it's a webinar, you're going to be making phone calls, you're going to an appointment. You make sure you write all of that down, right? That's for the time blocking. The first question was, what again? Buyer.
How does it stand out?
It was how does he stand out with as a buyer?
Always. Buyers are calling you, they're on Zillow, there's so much noise out there. If you don't answer the phone when they call from Zillow or wherever they're calling from, and you don't answer, they're gonna call the next person. So make sure you sleep with your phone, go to the bathroom with your phone, answer the phone right away, or if you didn't get it because, I don't know, you were somewhere doing something, I don't know, but then call them right back. What's amazing to me is when I hear that a buyer or a seller will say, I called them and they didn't call me back till the next day. Even in my message, you could say, we will get back to you within the hour. Now we have a transcription, so if I'm not getting it, then Katie, the director of operations, will call that back. Also, we got another phone. because otherwise my phone would be blowing up. So we have the bat phone, and Katie sleeps with that phone.
Can I just answer what, for buyers, for a new agent working with buyers, you need to come up with your UVP. You need to do the exercise, your unique value proposition. You need to be confident and figure out what your superpower is and how you're gonna help solve their problems. There's a whole lot of stuff online you could do to help you work through what your unique value proposition is, but you have to be able to create a success plan that's around their problems and your value proposition that's gonna help them succeed.
And try to get them in the office and meet with them and have a consultation, just like a listing presentation, because we are not public realtors. We don't just show up at a house and then leave and then not follow up. You're not a showing agent. Make sure they see your value. You're not a show. I tell this to my team. You're not a showing agent. What value are you providing to that buyer that they don't have to call only the listing agent? How much do we give that? I only call the listing agent.
And I'll just say this too. Try sending them the property without them telling you that they want to see the property. Let them know that you're the one looking at it. I tell my buyer agents this all the time. If nothing's come up, call them and say nothing but garbage is our remarks. If you're the one initiating communication, they will prioritize you because they feel you're prioritized as the
Dates what? I think it's what they're.
You have to be all
in
in.
the back, standing up.
Yeah, I appreciate all the, how should I say, references to database. Now, I'm a little old school. My database originally was about for knocking on doors. Will you be touching a little bit further today on what's some of the techniques and ways to build a database?
I can answer that. So you just said you knocked on doors, so you must have a huge database.
I've got
Subject.
interesting. Quite frankly, I left the industry for a number of years. I sold my database, and I thought you got me back.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the answer. So the answer is this: to build your database, start by being a local expert. Right? You're networking. You're in communities. You're, like Taylor said, you're doing things that are in your life circle. So if you're a working mom or a working dad, and you're in a certain community, you're gonna volunteer inside of that community with something that's important to that community. It needs to be what's important to them. And hopefully it's also relevant to you. You start by building your database inside of the community you want to work in. Show up. We were literally just talking about how many millions of dollars in listings we've gotten by walking our dogs in the right neighborhoods. Right? The dog park, the street fairs, the Rotary Club, the Chamber of Commerce. That's what I did when I first started. I was interviewing the mayor on Facebook. I was on the building improvement district. I was involved in my temple. I was building my database in the community that I work in and that I serve in, and that is exactly how my whole team does it. And that's how you build your database. After that, you need to consistently nurture and follow up by showing you care, sharing your wisdom, and scaling it. Does that help?
It's hard work.
I was doing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stuff.
You can't speak.
I just have a quick question. Back to the whole business presentation. You do your due diligence and you have a price point, the more of the property, but then the sellers tell you what his home or her home is worth. How do you balance that?
Like if they're saying it's worth more than you're saying it's worth.
Because we know our business, they don't.
Listen, I mean, you guys got to do discretion about like, is it worth it? Like, what's the margin? What's the delta, right? So if it's like, let's just say average median is like 600,000, they want 20% more than it's worth. Walk. They want 5% more than it's maybe worth. Okay, maybe that's conversation. Maybe 10%. It depends. I would say it's like really discretionary. But once again, just breed confidence that you're the expert and you know what you're doing and you're trying to guide it in the right direction.
And I would go back to what Stacy said before too.
Two questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would go back to what Stacy said before too. The questions. Well, why do you think it's worth that? Well, how come? But this one's so for this. Why do you think this is? You know, and just keep asking questions. Questions. Why? and they say, like, I won't sell it beyond this. This is the data. Listen, you could go here, maybe we'll go a little more, but if you go here, it's gonna sit on the market. You did say you wanted to go North Carolina and be with your kids, so when do you want that to happen? Well, would you want to still be here next year? Okay, well, oh, I'm not in a, as they say, oh, I'm not in a hurry. Well, actually, you may not be in a hurry, but the market will pass you by. So are you okay with getting maybe 50,000 less than what the market says your house is worth now, next year?
You gotta touch on their pain points, and we could do this all day, and they could give you great information out that you have out of time.
I say one thing.
Sure, Liz.